firstly, looking at the pack, missing still a few experienced heavyweights in Ruan and Marcel and Marco.
Yeah.
It's a nice challenge for guys like Cameron and Reinhard Ludwig.
Well, I mean, so yeah, with those three guys, so I don't think Ruan Nokia is too far away. I'm hoping that he'll be back soon. Marcel had an operation while we were away. Found something wrong with his knee. Wasn't as well. Sorry, it was more serious than we thought. So it looks like he probably won't play the rest of the season, which is a massive loss for us. And then Marco, obviously after the Leinster game, he's probably got another 2-3 weeks to so we should be okay come the next couple of weeks with Nokia and with Marco. But it is an opportunity. It's quite interesting. So Locke, 19 years old, 6'21", 7'21", captain 23. I mean, it's really a young, but exciting. I mean, it is exciting for this. And we've seen our Ludwig's grown quickly. We've seen our Cameron's grown quickly this season. We saw what Ulrich did in the last couple of years. He too was that age when he started with us. So it is a combination that I'm looking forward to seeing anyway. It's got everything. It's got skill, it's got height, it's got pace, it's got youth, which obviously also comes with energy. So yeah, it'll be, and we're playing at altitude. So we're playing at altitude. We're playing on our field. Our field generally is quite quick, and we use it for football. So to have those kind of loose forwards that can run, it's also a strength for us as well.
And just on Cameron, obviously, he was very impressive against Northampton on Saturday. He must be relieved that he's available.
Well, I'll give you some feedback. I mean, obviously, the hearing. They were then going to change it to a dangerous tackle as opposed to a tip tackle. In defence of him, he's never had, it's his second yellow card. I mean, he's never had a red card. He doesn't want a red card. And he made it clear to the committee, which I thought was very, he wants to play his career without having a red card next to his name. So, and I'm, as I said, sometimes it doesn't always go your way, but I think the way that it was handled was, even the referee's report was that he thought that it was, a yellow card, nothing more.
Jake, this next block of games, just heading to this next run in the season, how important are they game? Also, how important is it that you guys are fighting when in this good position?
Well, look, I mean, we know that one of the things about this competition is, and like any other competition, but because of this one, we've only done it for like 3 years, is home ground advantage when you get to the end of the tournament is vital. You saw what it meant to the Stormers, playing 2 home finals. It's not only financial, it's also the ability to actually play against the best teams at home, give yourself a chance to win. And now it's very open. When I say open, yes, there are a lot of permutations. You've got Leinster out here. I don't know what team they're going to pick to play against Stormers and Lions. I've seen the Sharks team have gone, obviously without their box. That obviously puts pressure on us because Glasgow are the one team we would like to catch as well. So all we can do, I think, is just make sure we win as many games as we can between now and the end of the playoffs, so we give ourselves the best chance to finish as high up as possible. Sometimes it might be out of our hands because if we win everything, Glasgow win everything, and Leinster win everything, it'll stay the way it is. So, and you want to then anyway go into those playoff games having won your last couple of games with momentum.
Jake, for tomorrow's game, Munster have shown to be quite accurate in the tackle, so you guys are quite good attacking team.
Yeah.
How exciting is that sort of matchup?
Look, Munster are URC champions. I mean, that's what people must understand. They beat Stormers last year in Cape Town. That hasn't happened. Many teams haven't got that right. And as you say, I mean, it's not only the attack. I mean, they've got a good team. So, that's why we're going to have to take. It's like a final for us as well because they like the Stormers in South Africa were the benchmark for the competition, and they know how to win in South Africa. Any team who's beaten Stormers there obviously would put that into their memory bank. And they beat us last time easily. Well, last time we played them in Munster, I think they beat us 31-7. So I mean, shows you they've beaten us convincingly before. We're going to have to play well to beat them tomorrow.
Joe, just quickly back on Cameron. certain fundamentals stay the same actually, you know, in the loose and something. But is there anything specifically technical or that you've asked from Cameron, or have you sort of like just asked him to sort of like bring his energy and do what he's done at 8, you know, into the 6th position?
Yeah, you know, Heinz, I actually don't know which is his best position yet, to be fair. I mean, if I look at a guy like Josh van der Vlier, he reminds me a lot of Josh. And I mean, Josh is an out-and-out open-side flanker with pace. And there are things that Cameron does that is Josh van der Vlier like. And when I've got, you know, Gumedi playing well, and I've got Ulrich playing well, and I've got Janus Kirsten coming back, and I've got, you know, Marku coming back, I've got to then find which is the best combination, I think. But in Cameron, I think that's what makes him so exciting, is that I don't think it's a big adjustment to go from 8 to 6. I think he's got, you know, I asked someone just now, and I don't know what the English word for it is. I know, but it's not the same when you say it in Afrikaans. He's got incredible voorgevoel. And in English, I mean, it doesn't sound the same. If you say he's got good feel, or he's... And I think that sums him up. You know, he knows, it's almost like he knows where to go. And so, if I answer your question, there's nothing I need to tell him. I think his feeling or his voorgevoel for me is something that makes him different to other players, you know. And that's why I think whether you put 6 on his back, 8 on his back, 7 on his back even, I'm sure he'll understand where he needs to go.
Brendan?
So just about the young loose trio as well. I mean, they're going up against almost an Irish loose trio, Peter Mahoney. I mean, Alex Killerman and Gavin Coombs were very good in the last game against you guys as well. They're quality guys, even though they may not be incumbents.
Yeah. No, well, I mean, Brendan, then you go look, R14 Steynman might play 5 and he'll play against Jeff van Heerden, who's 19 years old. You know? But, you know, you look at a guy like Ludwig who played, you know, against Eben Etzebeth, and I think the week before that he played, I can't remember, we played someone else. We played an international team, and he played against some other monster lock. You know, who was it?
Itoji.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Saracens, Itoji. You know, the one thing I take confidence out of, Brendan, is that the Peter Mahoney's and the Gavin Coombses and the Josh van der Vliers and those players that we play against and we measure ourselves on all started like these guys did too. You know, that's the one confidence I take out of it. They too started as this age group in that kind of pressure situation, and that's what made them as good as they are today. So, I mean, I'm just excited because that's what we've got. They're good players. As I said, what coaches really just want is they just want that combination to click. You know, and they might be a young, inexperienced age-wise, but they're obviously very good rugby players.
I've got to ask it because of the changes in the team, but
yes,
the reaction probably abroad is going to be that, see, we told you, and they've expanded on it a lot in your column. Yes. But have you got any feedback that you can tell us on record that after that they're going ahead on the EPCR front?
No, well, I mean, Brendan, I think, you know, I read lots of things about the fact that, you know, put this way, that was the B team and repercussions and all that thing. At this point, I think anybody who understands and sees the lie of the land would understand that it's not unique. In other words, you know, I wrote a column this morning which I explained again. If we have to register 55 EPCR players in order for EPCR to know what your squad looks like, and you can't add because of the fact that some teams would then bring in players late and that changes, it's not fair. In other words, that's the reason why they make you list your names. Well, then why is it wrong to use 55 players in the competition? And are we going to get to a point where they can say you can use them in the pool stages, but you can't use them in the playoffs? You've got to play your best guys in the playoffs. I mean, sport's never going to work out like that. You know? So, I mean, the thing for me is I want to win everything. I would love to stay in Europe. I'd love to play in that competition. I'd love to be able to beat La Rochelle and Leinster and Toulouse. At this point in time, we've lost to Toulouse in Toulouse. We haven't played La Rochelle, which have been champions 2 years. We've played Leinster. We know when they're on fire how good they are. If they're signing guys like Geordie Barrett, Tupou, and R14 Steynman, we have to compare apples with apples. And all I want to do is get to a point where we have 55 really good players, where it doesn't make any difference, where the depth is so strong. I'd like to create an aura in South African rugby where, just like our Springbok national team are number one, there should be no reason why our provincial side shouldn't be 1, 2, 3, and 4 in any competition as well. Now, if that's asking for too much, well, then I apologize. But that's where I would like to get to, wearing my Bulls hat and coaching in a province like the Bulls. So people will say, showed you, told you, and they're probably right. I could have told you too. Sometimes when I do tell people, they don't listen. So it's not facetious at all. It is what it is. And I'm not pointing fingers. We've played against the Leinster team here that wasn't their best. We've played against the Leon team here that wasn't their best. I've seen teams getting sent overseas that aren't their best. But that's my judgment. And at the end of the day, you have to play within those rules. Those are the rules that we have.
Jake, you mentioned earlier that Munster is a very good attacking side. Now, we struggled a bit on defence, especially against Northampton.
Yeah.
Have you done anything about that? Any plans?
Yeah, well, it's funny. I saw your chat to that Stormer supporter. I think, to be fair, you got a little bit unfair on Henry. I think when some guy runs over 5 guys, gets to Henry and scores, it's not Henry's fault. So I take that as for me, I wanted to see Henry Immelman there. I've seen him play as a centre at Montpellier. Saw him play as a schoolboy at Grey College as well. I mean, he's a phenomenal rugby player. And I don't think Northampton's defensive frailties are a sign of where we are defensively. I think that was a one-off. I think it was putting a combination together. First time those two centres have played together. In hindsight, and I'll use an example, I could have played Lionel Mapo there with Harold that have played at Lions together for a long time. If we hadn't got a result out of that, then I would have said, well, why didn't I use that as an opportunity to get Henry to start playing centre? So I suppose what I'm saying is I don't read too much in it. It's a very good attacking side, Northampton. They play very different rugby to Munster anyway. I mean, that to be fair. With the backs they have, they've tested and punished many defences in the Premiership. And in hindsight, as I said, I take it on myself. I wanted to see combinations. I wanted to see certain players in certain combinations. I wanted to see Strevino back from injury. And maybe if I look back, Strevino with Henry on that side was a little bit inexperienced. But I mean, I would have only have seen that if I had done it. That's the secret of being a coach, is you've got to hang your hat somewhere and see whether it works or doesn't work. So, I don't think we're going to read too much into. I mean, defensively we've been really good and much improved from last year. That for me is a little bit of a blimp.
In terms of the attack, though, you guys are number one attack stats anywhere else, but you didn't score any points in the second half of the first game.
Yeah.
Is that a worry?
Well, I mean, I said to you just now in the lift, nor did La Rochelle score any points in the second half against Leinster. And La Rochelle have got an incredible team as well, and they've got power in front, they've got backs that can score tries. I don't for 1 minute. I mean, it's not just because of, there's no excuse, they're a good team. And we started, and we're probably a little bit fortunate, we got an intercept, and then we got a try disallowed in the second half with Cameron's. So then we would have scored points in the second half. But they also showed, and I told them afterwards in the change room, they also showed a massive amount of resilience, Northampton, because even with 59-22 at that last set, we kept the ball for about 20 phases, and they didn't let us go anywhere, which meant even then they were not prepared to leak a try, which says a lot for them as a team as well. So, I mean, our attack is, I mean, it's been good, and I still think going forward with these combinations we'll get better and better.
Just one more question about La Rochelle.
Yes.
Also didn't score in the second half, and also happened to have travelled to Cape Town and have
Yes.
travelled all the way back. Does that tell you something?
Well, it didn't tell me anything. It might tell you guys something.
Jake, I mean, you mentioned that you're facing the defending champions of the competition. How different is this Munster side from that Munster side that went on a mammoth run in the playoffs last year, culminating in the victory against the Stormers?
Yeah, look, I think it's not a case of how different are they. It's the same group, same coaches, and they'll take confidence out of that, and they'll believe that they can do it again. That's what they've done. It's like anything. It's like a sports star. If you've smelt and you've tasted that sort of victory or that pathway they get. Because let's be fair, the year they won it, which was last year, they were dead and buried at a certain stage as well, and they came back to win it. So, Yeah, it's not. I don't think it's like saying they are like they were. I think it's still early days, and I'm sure they will revert back to what worked for them in that campaign last year on how they ended. And that's, they also had off last week, so they'll be fresh. And all the injured players, I'm sure, will have another week to recover. So they'll be as good as we expect them to be.
And I know you would have watched the game against Northampton because
Yes.
there would have been an interest on your side there. What did you pick up about them from there that maybe you could use?
Well, look, it was quite interesting because I had to watch both teams because I wasn't sure which one we were going to play, and so I don't think it's just in isolation watching Munster against Northampton. Watching Munster this season, when they're on fire, they're a good team and they've played well, and they're not champions of URC for nothing. I mean, they've beaten the top sides. I mean, they beat Leinster in a semi-final last year as well. It just shows you at the end of the comp, they beat Leinster, who was in the European Cup final. So, I mean, they're not champions of URC for nothing.
And then lastly, from my side, you mentioned it's a big blow to lose, of course, one of your co-captains and Marcel Kutsia. But during the season, you've been able to blood in some young loose forwards, giving them experience. Is this now you're bearing fruits from that, giving these young guys an opportunity?
Well, I am, but also remember last year when I made Ruan Nokia captain, people wanted to, now Alric Lowe's the captain. So slowly what happens is you're creating more leaders. And I read a wonderful article by Simon Halliday saying that one of the things that good teams are getting is they're getting lots and lots of leaders coming from, and you use South Africa as an example. You get guys that are coming from different clubs and they become leaders in the Springbok setup. And so internally at our union, we're trying to create as many leaders as possible. Now, it's quite interesting. This morning we had a meeting and we went through the game and we chatted about different areas. And so we spoke about breakdown, and Cameron Hanekom got up and spoke about the breakdown. And then we spoke about the line-out, and Ludwig spoke about the line-out. And then we spoke about defence, and Kane and Moody spoke about the defence. Now, I mean, there are not many teams that have 3 21-year-olds talking before a game on, as I said, I've been coaching a long time. There are not many times 21-year-old guys get up and are the spokesperson for those areas of the game. So what that says to me is we're in really good place because of our youngsters in age are now getting up and talking about how they want things to be done in those areas. And you're going to create more and more leaders. You're going to create more and more people that do their homework. You're going to get more and more people that become professional and prepare themselves properly for games. And that's basically, I think, one of the secrets of successful teams is having guys who take ownership and having guys that are prepared and done their homework as well as they can for big games.
Good, thank you.
Thanks, Jake.
Thanks,
Thanks,
guys.
Jake.